Okay, lessons about the Philippines. The Philippines is really a different world from the U.S. It really is. Sometimes it really takes me by surprise. Okay, so I've been coming here since 2004. Okay, and right now it is December 15, 2019. So it's 15 years I've been coming to the Philippines. And we just got back from Mindanao from visiting my wife's mother, her 70th birthday. We really don't know. It's hard to tell how many birthdays somebody has after their 70th birthday. So, you know, 70 is an important number. When my mom reached 70 also, it was a big event in my family also. So we all went to Mindanao. There were a couple of siblings that didn't make it. But for the most part, much of my wife's family was there in Lanao del Norte. It's a very difficult environment. If I wasn't used to hunting camps, especially in Texas, if I wasn't used to Boy Scouts as a kid, I don't think I would have been able to stay there for 5 days. It's a very rough, difficult environment, for sure. No hot water, no AC, no Wi-Fi, difficult to get a signal for a cell phone, no plumbing. That was really difficult. They do have a septic tank, but you got to bring in all the water. Okay, so it's difficult. My kids really didn't like it, but it's important. It's important that they experience that kind of lifestyle. I didn't like it. I complained a lot when I was on Boy Scout trips, and sometimes I complained on hunting camps in Texas. But at any rate, it was a good trip overall. But here's the interesting thing, okay? On the way back, it's about a 5-hour trip if you take a bus. And you know how the buses in the Philippines drive crazy. I think I've talked to you about that before. Okay, but we didn't want to take a bus because the driver drives so crazy. My kid almost got car sick. He almost vomited twice going to my mother-in-law's house. We flew into Cagayan de Oro and had a 5-hour bus ride. Okay, so on the way back, a friend of my wife's sister, a college friend, they're 27 now, so I mean, beyond college, they're professionals now, but a friend when they were in college of my wife's sister offered us the use of her car. So you can take my car to go back to Cagayan de Oro. Of course, if we go there, we're going to leave her car in Cagayan de Oro. So she has another friend who's a professional driver, a truck driver, a commercial truck driver. He volunteered to take us. Okay, so we're going to pay him, and we're going to fill up her car with gas, is the deal. And he'll drive us to Cagayan de Oro, drop us off at the airport, and come back. Okay, sounds great, right? Very similar to the U.S. Okay. Now here's where it gets interesting. On the drive, okay, he clips a commercial truck. So he's driving as fast as possible, maybe 60 kilometers an hour, weaving in and out of cars, on turns, in very dangerous situations. So a giant, really heavy 18-wheeler, an American-sized 18-wheeler, loaded down with all kinds of who knows what, is zooming towards us, and he doesn't get out of the way in time, and it smashes the mirror on the driver's side door. And miraculously, my wife was saying it was a miracle. I said it's not a miracle. The guy's a jerk. He shouldn't have been driving like that anyway. Okay, but all it does is smash the mirror. That's it. So you need a little bit of paint, touch-up paint on the mirror, and the car's fine. And you got to replace the glass, okay? So immediately things diverge from the U.S., okay? Now, here's what happened, okay? And I had to stifle myself to keep from going ballistic, is the expression, okay? But one, we paid for the repair, for the new mirror, okay? From the Toyota dealership. Two, we drove around for 3 hours in Iligan City trying to find a mirror. Ended up ordering it from the dealership, and I paid for it. 3, the owner of the car happened to be in Iligan City, so she came and got picked up by the driver and complained because we hadn't gotten a police report. There's no way to get the police report. We're in the middle of nowhere when it clipped the car. And we drove around for a while more trying to figure out how to repair the mirror before we decided to go back to the dealership. Then we went to the mall so the kids could eat, because the kids are crying and hungry and they've been in the car for 6-7 hours by now. And so we eat at the mall. The kids get to run around a little bit. It's kind of nice. Of course, we pay for everything at the mall. And then the owner and the driver take the car back and leave us stranded in Iligan City. So we take a taxi. We load up the taxi with our luggage and everything and go to a hotel in Cagandoro. And we spend a relaxing day and night there. Okay. Now, that's the way it happened in the Philippines. Okay. And I had to communicate this to my wife. In the U.S., okay, here's what would happen in the U.S. I don't know, maybe some people are different, but this is my expectation from growing up in the U.S. If someone offers to take me to the airport, okay, and it's a 5-hour drive, okay, and you're going to pay me a little bit of money, and you're going to give me some money for gas, okay? But I'll get you there. That's the contract. If they drive crazy and damage the car because they're driving crazy, they're going to apologize, and they're going to apologize and apologize and apologize. And as long as the car is driving, physically driving, even if it's damaged, even if the wheels are wobbling, they're going to try to get you to the airport on time, because that's the contract. That's their promise, okay? They promise to get you there. They're certainly not going to ask you to pay. If you offer to pay, that's nice, but they're going to assume you're not going to pay, because it's all on the driver. The driver drove like a jerk, clipped a car, damaged the car, and he's sure not going to punish you and your kids by driving around for 3 hours trying to figure out how to fix it and then abandoning you and giving up on the contract. Okay, he's going to get you to the airport first. After he gets you to the airport, then he's going to figure out how to fix the car, and he's going to have to pay for it. He's going to, the owner's going to have it out with him. But you're in the clear. Okay. Now, my wife was shocked when she heard the American side. Now, here's the explanation of the Filipino side, okay? And this is kind of important, because Native American cultures are a little bit like this also, okay? Now think about when you do a favor for somebody, think about that as a weight, okay? Think about it like you've got a scale, like a balance scale, those old-time scales, okay, where you put a rock on one side and, the items you're buying on the other, okay, until it balances out, all right? The kind of scale that Justice, the statue of blind Justice is holding. Okay. Now, if you offer to take someone to the airport, you've put a big chunk of weight on your side of the scale. Okay. So the people you're driving are going to feel a tremendous sense of obligation to you. You're doing a lot for us. You've piled your weight on that side of the scale. Our side of the scale is empty. Now, if you hit something, that's not your fault. That's our fault, because you're driving us, and your side of the scale is down. Our side of the scale is up. There's no way we're going to contest paying for this, because to do that, to debate with you about whether or not we should pay for this, would be putting more weight on your side of the scale. There's no way we can do that. If you want to drive around for 3 hours and make my children cry because they've had nothing to eat and they're stuck in the car for 7 hours straight, okay, if you want to do that, there's no way I can complain, because you've piled so much weight on your side of the scale. Okay, now if you find that difficult to believe, okay, I want you to think about the movie Jeremiah Johnson with Robert Redford, okay? If you haven't seen it, it's a good movie. And it's a good movie also about an American who doesn't understand a different culture that he's confronted with. So Jeremiah Johnson's invited to an Indian camp, and the Indian chief honors him by inviting him into his teepee and smoking, a pipe with him. So Jeremiah Johnson, being an American, wants to get on the good side of this chief. So he wants to hunt in these Indian lands, and he wants to live peacefully with these Indians. So he wants to kind of bribe them. So he's going to give them a gift of several horses. Okay, Jeremiah Johnson's companion wheels around and stares at him with horror and shock and says, "You're going to honor him by giving him horses? He's honoring you by feeding you in his tent, and you went and give him a gift? You may have cooked our brains." Sorry. So Robert Redford, character Jeremiah Johnson, is confused by this. And he says, "What do you mean?" And he explains that for the Native American people, giving you a gift is like, it has kind of like a weight to it. So if you give him a gift, that adds more weight. So unless he can give you a better gift to offset that scale, it's an awkward situation for him, and it's going to be an insult, because you've put him in an awkward situation in his own house. It's like slapping him in his own house. He might have to kill you. It's like shaming him. So in a way, this is kind of the same thing. It's interesting, because the Asian psychology is like this, okay? And the Native American psychology, at least in that movie, Jeremiah Johnson, is very much like that. So the Indian chief ends up giving Jeremiah Johnson his daughter to offset the debt obligation. So think about when people are doing you a favor in the Philippines, or when you're doing someone else a favor, okay? It's like you're piling on weight on the scale. Now, this is part of the reason why magtampo is such a difficult thing to talk about with Filipinos, because if you're an American and you came and you lifted their family out of poverty, and you took a woman to the U.S. and you let her work and send money home, and you've sent her little brother through college, and you've built her mother a new house, you've piled on so much weight on the scale, she's never going to be able to really confront you about things. It's going to be very difficult. So that's where magtampo comes in. She's caught. She can't really fight you about things without shaming herself, So anyway, that's my understanding, okay? And it's really interesting that we ended up paying for that mirror, and they abandoned us, and still my wife is like thanking them, so much. Whereas I was about ready to lose it, and it took me a couple of days to sort through all this, to figure out what just happened here, because it was so alien to my expectations, so different from what I'd experienced, that it caught me off guard. And living here can be like that. It really can. You really need to appreciate those differences and not attack them. And you got to be patient, and sometimes you got to bite your tongue and just kind of trust the people you're with to kind of walk you through. Well, that's it for now.